Welcome to Grandpa's Gentle Sleep Stories. If tonight your mind feels a little too busy, a little too awake, you're in the right place. You don't need to quiet your thoughts. You don't need to sort them out. These stories are here to sit beside you while your thinking slowly runs out of steam. So get comfortable. There's nothing to figure out as the story begins. You know, I've always thought there's something honest about a porch light that stays on a little longer than necessary. It doesn't argue. It doesn't explain itself. It just glows there in the soft dark, as if to say, well, I'm here if you need me. The evening air out here feels different from the daytime air. Cooler, yes, but also slower. It settles against your skin gently. If you listen close, you can hear the crickets beginning their steady rhythm. They don't hurry either. They simply start one at a time, until the sound becomes a kind of blanket. I remember sitting on this same porch years ago, long after everyone else had gone inside. The house would go quiet behind me. Dishes dried and put away, doors closed. Beds creaking once, then still. And there I'd be, rocking just a little, watching the porch light gather moths like tiny drifting thoughts. You might notice how your own thoughts gather that way at night. They don't seem so busy during the day. Daylight keeps them spread out, but at night they come closer. They circle. They tap softly against the edges of your mind. That's all right. Out here, nothing demands anything from you. The wooden boards beneath your feet are familiar. They've held the same weight for years. They don't mind if you shift around a bit. The rocking chair gives a small sigh each time it leans back. I like that sound. It reminds me that even old things are comfortable with a little movement. Sometimes a car passes far down the road. You don't see it first. You hear it. A low hum that rises and fades. It never feels urgent. Just someone else heading home, I suppose. The sound stretches thin as it moves away, and then it's gone again, leaving the crickets to carry on. Porch light hums softly too. Most people don't notice that part. But if you sit still enough, you'll hear it. A faint electrical whisper. Steady. Predictable. It doesn't flicker unless there's a storm coming. And there's no storm tonight. Just a clear sky, dark and wide. When you think too much at night, it can feel like you're the only one awake in the whole world. But that isn't quite true. The trees are awake in their own way. Leaves shift and settle. Somewhere, a screen door closes with a gentle clap. Even the wind moves carefully, as if it doesn't want to disturb anyone. I've found that sitting with a thought is different from wrestling it. If you let it sit beside you on the porch, it behaves better. It stops pacing. It quiets down, the way a dog does once it realizes no one's chasing it away. There's comfort in small routines. The porch light comes on at dusk. It stays on until someone remembers to switch it off. Tonight, we're in no hurry to remember. Let it shine. Let it spill that soft circle onto the steps and into the yard. The yard itself looks gentler at night. Grass turns into a smooth shadow. The fence becomes a faint outline. Things lose their sharp edges. I think our thoughts can do that too, if we give them enough time in the dark. You might feel your shoulders easing just a little now. Not because anything changed. Nothing has. The same porch. The same light. The same slow rocking. But sometimes stillness does its work quietly, without announcing itself. I used to count the pauses between cricket chirps, not to measure anything important, just to notice. There's a space between sounds, a small pocket of silence. And inside that pocket, everything rests for a moment. That's what we're doing here. Resting in the spaces between. The night doesn't mind how long you sit. It isn't checking a clock. It isn't waiting for you to solve anything. It simply stretches on, calm and patient. If your thoughts drift in again, let them. If they drift out, that's fine too. A moth taps gently against the glass bulb above. U.S. It doesn't understand the light. It only knows it's drawn to it. Eventually, it will tire. It always does. Even restless wings need rest. There's a faint scent of wood in the air, warmed earlier by the sun. It lingers in the boards and railings. Familiar smells have a way of telling the body it's safe. You don't have to do anything special. Just breathe. Inhale slow. Exhale slower. The rocking chair moves once more beneath us. A small forward shift. A small back. The rhythm is steady, like breathing itself. Forward, back, forward, back. And somewhere between those small motions, the porch light keeps glowing. The crickets keep singing. The road stays quiet. And your thoughts, well, they may still be there, but they're no louder than the hum. Above us, we can sit here as long as we like. The night isn't going anywhere, and in a little while, when the air grows cooler still, we might wander inside, where the hallway clock waits patiently to mark the seconds in its own unhurried way. We'll leave the porch light on for now. No need to rush inside just yet. The clock can tick without us for a moment longer. The clock can tick without us for a moment longer. And now that we've stepped inside, you can hear it more clearly. Tick than a small pause. Talk that hangs there on the hallway wall the way it always has. Same nail, same faint mark in the paint. Behind it. During the day, its sound disappears under other noises. Cupboards closing, water running, footsteps crossing the floor. But at night, when the house has settled into itself, that ticking becomes the loudest thing around. I've always liked that about old clocks. They don't speed up just because someone is awake. They don't slow down because someone wishes they would. They just continue. Tick, tock. Patient as a farmer leaning on a fence. You might find that your thoughts try to measure themselves against it. I should be asleep by now, they say. Or, it's later than it ought to be. But the clock doesn't agree or disagree. It doesn't judge. It simply keeps moving its hands in a slow circle. If you stand here long enough, you'll notice the second hand makes a tiny hitch before each movement. A soft mechanical breath. Then it steps forward again. That small hesitation is my favorite part. It reminds me that even time pauses, if only for a fraction of a second. The hallway smells faintly of wood polish and something older. Maybe just the memory of old winters. The floorboards beneath your feet cool through your socks. Somewhere deeper in the house, the refrigerator hums, but it's far enough away to feel distant. The clock is closer, nearer, steadier. Tick, tock, when I was younger. I used to count the seconds when I couldn't sleep. Not sheep, those never stayed still in my mind, but seconds. I'd tell myself, just make it to 60. And then I'd begin again. It wasn't about reaching anything. It was about letting the ticking carry me instead of fighting it. You don't have to count tonight. Just listen. The walls hold the sound gently. It bounces once and then settles. Houses at night feel different than they do in the day. They expand a little, wood shifts, pipes click softly as they cool. But none of it is urgent. It's the sound of a place breathing out after a long day. Your thoughts may still be walking around upstairs in your mind, opening and closing doors. That's all right. Let them. The clock isn't bothered by wandering. It has seen many nights. Like this. Many people standing in this same hallway, listening for something steady. There's comfort in knowing that the hands will meet again at 12, just as they always do. Not dramatically, not with fanfare. Just a quiet overlap before. Continuing on their way, I once knew a man who said he covered his clocks at night so he wouldn't hear them. Said the ticking made him restless. I never quite understood that. To me, the ticking felt like company. Proof that something small and reliable was still awake. You might notice how your breathing begins to match it. Tick. Inhale. Talk. Exhale. Not perfectly. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just close enough that your body recognizes the rhythm and eases into it. The porch light is still on outside. Its glow sneaks faintly through the front window, stretching a soft rectangle across the far wall. The clock's shadow shifts with each tiny movement of the hands. A slow dance of light and dark. There's no hurry here. The minute hand creeps forward, so gradually you can't see it move. But it does. Even when it seems still, it's working quietly. I suppose thoughts are like that too. They feel stuck sometimes. But they're always moving, even if only by the smallest amount. If one thought lingers, let it stand beside the clock for a while. Let it listen. Eventually, it may grow tired of pacing and decide to sit down. The house gives a soft settling. Sound, just once, then quiet again. Tick, tock, You don't have to solve anything in this hallway. You don't have to make plans or decisions. The clock isn't asking for them. It's only offering you something steady to lean on. Lean on it. Let the seconds pass the way they always do, without drama, without argument. After a while, standing here might feel unnecessary. The ticking will follow you no matter where you go in the house. It doesn't belong only to this hallway. It carries through the walls, faint but faithful. And perhaps, in a little while, you'll wander toward the kitchen, not because you need anything in particular, but because the refrigerator's quiet hum feels like another kind of company. The clock will keep watch behind us. It doesn't mind where we walk next. It will still be ticking when we return. It will still be ticking when we return. But for now, the kitchen feels closer. There's something about a kitchen at night that feels different from the daytime version. During the day, it's all movement. Cups set down, drawers opened, spoons tapping the edges of bowls. But now it stands still, as if it has folded its hands and decided to rest. The small light above the sink is the only one on. It doesn't brighten the whole room. Just a gentle circle over the counter. The rest of the kitchen fades into soft shapes and shadows. I've always liked that kind of light. It doesn't insist on being noticed. The refrigerator hums low and steady, not loud enough to interrupt anything, just present. If you stand still, you can almost feel its vibration through the floorboards. A quiet reminder that something is working patiently in the background. You might open the cupboard without thinking. The handle cool in your hand. The hinges give a soft sigh. Inside, the glasses wait in neat rows. No one rushing them. No one calling their name. Just simple, clear shapes resting together. A glass of water tastes different at night. Cooler somehow. More honest. You take a sip, and the sound echoes slightly in the still room. It's the only sharp sound here, and even that fades quickly. The floor creaks once when you shift your weight. It's a familiar creak, the kind you've heard so many times it almost feels like a greeting. Houses learn your steps over the years. They remember where you pause. Where you turned out the chair by the table is pulled out just a little, as if someone meant to come back. Maybe that someone was you. You can sit if you like. The wood is smooth from years of quiet evenings and early mornings. There's no clock in this room, but you can still sense time moving. Not in numbers, just in feeling. The refrigerator motor quiets for a moment, and starts again with a soft click. A cycle beginning and ending without any fuss. Sometimes when thoughts feel loud, it helps to be in a room that doesn't echo them. Back, the kitchen doesn't argue. It doesn't offer advice. It simply holds its shape around you. I remember sitting at this table long after the rest of the house had gone still. A cup of tea cooling slowly in my hands, watching the steam disappear into the dim light. There was no particular reason to be there, just the comfort of a room that expected nothing. The sink carries the faint scent of dish soap, clean and simple. The counter beneath your palm feels cool, solid, real. These small physical things have a way of bringing the mind back from wandering too far. You might notice how the humming becomes almost rhythmic after a while. Hum. Pause. Hum. Pause. It's not unlike the ticking of the hallway clock, just softer, less precise, more forgiving. Outside the kitchen window, the yard is darker than before. The porch light still casts its glow, but it doesn't reach this far. The glass reflects the inside of the room instead. Your outline, faint and quiet. There's comfort in reflections that don't show too much detail, just enough to know you're there. If a thought drifts in now, let it sit at the table across from you. It doesn't need to speak. It can just rest its elbows on the wood and listen to the refrigerator hum. Most thoughts lose their sharpness when given a chair. The house remains still. No footsteps overhead, no doors closing, just the gentle systems of a home at rest. Pipes, cool within the walls. The faintest tick from somewhere distant reminds you the clock is still keeping time. You don't have to stay long. Or you can stay as long as you like. The kitchen doesn't measure your visit. It's content either way, not another sip of water. The glass touches the table with a soft sound. Small sounds feel larger at night, but only for a moment. There's a kind of safety in rooms that have seen thousands of ordinary evenings. They've held laughter, quiet arguments, morning sunlight, winter darkness. And yet they remain unchanged in their purpose, to offer space. The hum slows. Again, silence, and the motor starts once more. You might find your shoulders dropping just a little lower. The mind doesn't have to run here. It can lean against the steady sounds and rest. Eventually, the light above the sink may feel brighter than necessary, not harsh. Just enough to remind you that night is meant for softer things, softer shadows, softer rooms. In a little while, you might wander toward the window where a slight breeze presses gently against the glass. Curtains moving almost without being seen. But for now, we'll sit a moment longer in this kitchen that asks nothing, says nothing, and keeps its quiet hum going long after everyone else has gone to bed. The refrigerator will keep it steady. Rhythm. The chair will remain where it is. And when we rise, it will be toward that window where the air moves just enough to notice. And when we rise, it is toward that window, where the air moves just enough to notice. The curtain lifts slightly, then settles back against the wall. It doesn't rush. It doesn't flap. Just a slow rise and fall, like a quiet breath taken. By the house itself. If you stand close, you can feel the cooler air rushing against your hand. Not cold, just different from the warmth inside. Night air carries a softness with it. It smooths things out. Outside, the yard is mostly shadow now. The porch light still glows faintly to the side, but from here, you mostly see the outline of trees. Their branches move gently, almost thoughtfully, as if they're turning something over in their minds. A dog barks somewhere, far away. Just once, and quiet again. Sounds travel differently at night. During the day, they bump into traffic and lawnmowers, and conversation. But now they move in long, uninterrupted lines. A distant car door closes. A faint engine hum passes and fades. Even the wind has room to stretch. You might notice your own breathing more clearly here. By the window. Inhale. Exhale. The curtain answers with its own slow motion. In. Out. There. There. As something comforting about watching fabric move. It doesn't have intentions. It doesn't plan ahead. It simply responds to what's already there. If the breeze comes, it lifts. If the breeze pauses, it rests. Thoughts can be like that too, if you let them. You don't have to chase them away. You don't have to hold them still. Let them move when they move. Let them quiet when they quiet. The glass of the window feels cool. Beneath your fingertips, smooth, solid. It separates inside from outside without making a fuss about it. The world beyond continues on. Trees shifting, stars holding their places. A porch light glowing steadily, and you remain here, safe in this small pocket of warmth. I used to sit by windows like this when I couldn't sleep. Not to look for anything in particular. Just to watch the way the darkness held itself together. There's no sharpness out there now. No hard lines. Everything blends into softer shapes. The breeze grows slightly stronger for a moment. The curtain lifts higher, brushes your arm, then falls back again. A small, ordinary touch. It's easy to think too much at night. The mind fills the quiet with questions, as if silence must mean something needs solving. But sometimes silence is just silence. A space that doesn't need filling. Outside, leaves whisper to one another. A low, steady sound, not words, just movement. The branches sway in no hurry at all. Trees have stood through thousands of nights. They don't seem troubled by them. You might lean your forehead lightly against the cool glass. Just for a second. The temperature difference feels grounding, real, present. The hallway clock ticks faintly behind you. The refrigerator hums somewhere to the side. The house holds its steady rhythm, even here at the window. Nothing has changed, and that's a good thing. The curtain drifts again. It reminds me of slow waves at the edge of a lake, not crashing, just arriving and leaving, arriving and leaving. If a thought presses close now, let it press gently. You don't need to untangle it. The breeze will move through eventually. It always does. A star peeks through a gap in the branches. Small, unbothered. It doesn't flicker as much as we imagine. It simply shines at its own pace. There's comfort in steady things. The breeze softens again, and the curtain settles into stillness. For a moment, everything feels paused, not frozen. just resting. You don't have to stay at the window forever. Just long enough to notice that the world outside continues calmly, whether you're thinking or not. The trees don't speed up because you're awake. The stars don't dim. Your shoulders may feel a little lighter now, or perhaps just less tight. That's enough. The house remains quiet behind you. The porch light continues its glow. The clock continues its patient counting. And in a little while, you might step back from the window and wander toward the living room, where the old couch waits in the dark, remembering the shape of you. The curtain will lift again soon. The breeze will find its way back, and the couch in the next room will be just where it has always been. The light from the hallway barely reaches this far, and most of the room rests in comfortable shadow. You don't need much light here. You already know where everything is. The couch sits against the wall, steady and patient. Its fabric has faded slightly over the years, not enough to matter, just enough to show that it has been lived with. The cushions dip in familiar places. There's one spot near the middle that gives a little more than the rest. When you lower yourself onto it, the springs answer with a gentle sigh. Not a complaint, just recognition. There's something kind about furniture that remembers you. The armrest fits beneath your elbow without adjustment. The cushion beneath you settles quickly, as if it had been waiting for the weight to return. The refrigerator hums in the kitchen. The breeze at the window has softened, though the curtain may still move now and then. Everything continues in its slow rhythm. You might stretch your legs out along the couch. The fabric feels cool at first, then warms gradually. That small change is comforting, a reminder that warmth builds slowly, without effort. I've spent many evenings on this couch, not doing much of anything, watching shadows lengthen across the walls, listening to the faint hum of distant traffic, letting thoughts drift in and out without inviting them to stay too long. There's a cushion at the end that has always been slightly firmer. I never quite understood why. Perhaps it was used less often, or perhaps it simply decided to hold its shape. Not everything needs an explanation. The air in this room carries the faint scent of old books and polished wood. Subtle, familiar, the kind of scent you stop noticing until you leave, and then return again. You don't have to sit upright if you don't want to. The couch won't mind if you sink a little lower. It has held heavier days than this. It has supported laughter and silence alike. The fabric beneath your hand has a slight texture. If you run your fingers across it slowly, you can feel the weave. Tiny threads crossing one another in quiet patterns. Steady, reliable. Outside, the street has grown even quieter. Fewer distant engines now. Fewer doors closing. The town is settling deeper into sleep, one house at a time. Your thoughts might still wander, but here on the couch they seem less sharp, softer around the edges. Like the dim light in the room, they lose their brightness and become shapes rather. It never quite rises fully, even when no one is sitting here. I've always found that reassuring. Some things don't need to return to perfect form. They can remain gently shaped by use. The clock continues its steady count. Tick, tock. It reaches us faintly, like a distant metronome. Not demanding attention. Just weight meeting softness. The living room walls hold the darkness kindly. They don't press in. They simply exist, framing the space. You might hear the house settle once more. A quiet shift in the beams overhead. the kind of sound that belongs to old wood cooling from the day's warmth. There's no need to move quickly. Here, even adjusting your position can be slow. A small shift of your shoulder. It continues pacing out of habit, even when the body is ready to rest. The couch doesn't. Hurry that process. It simply waits. I remember nights when I sat here long after I meant to go to bed. Not because I was avoiding sleep, just because this spot felt safe, familiar, predictable in the best way. The cushion beneath you warms fully now. The room feels settled. The town outside quieter, still in a little while. You might glance toward the window again, noticing how the street beyond has grown darker, how most of the porch lights have gone out, one by one. But for now, we'll remain here on this old couch that knows your shape better than you realize. The cushions will hold their gentle dip. The shadows will stay soft against the walls. And outside, the street is beginning to sleep before you do. And outside, the street is beginning to sleep before you do. From where you're resting on the couch, you can just see through the window. The glass reflects a little of the room behind you, but beyond that faint reflection lies the street. Now only one or two remain. The rest have clicked off gently, one by one, without announcement. No grand finale. Just small decisions made behind closed doors. Across the road, the Wilsons' house is dark, except for a faint kitchen light near the back. It won't stay on long. It rarely does. Down the block, a single upstairs window still glows softly, perhaps thinking their own steady thoughts. There's comfort in knowing you're not the only one. The street lamp at the corner hums faintly. Its light spills in a pale circle onto the pavement. Moths drift lazily around it, slower now than they were an hour ago. Even they seem to tire. You might notice how the air outside looks cooler than before. Not something you can measure exactly, just a feeling. The kind of cool that settles onto rooftops and lawns without rushing. A car passes slowly at the far end of the street. Its headlights sweep briefly across the trees, then disappear around the bend. No honking, no hurry. Just someone arriving. Home a little later than planned. Then quiet again. The houses stand in neat rows, each holding its own stillness. Curtains drawn, doors locked, lamps switched off. Small rituals completed for the night. There's something soothing about those rituals, even when you're not the one performing them. I've always believed that towns fall asleep in layers. First the shops downtown, lights dimmed behind their windows. Then the sidewalks grow empty. Then the houses follow, room by room, until only the faintest glimmers remain. You're witnessing the final layer now. The porch light we left on earlier still glows faintly to the side. It hasn't been forgotten. It's simply keeping watch. A little longer. A soft halo against the dark siding of the house. If you listen carefully, you might hear leaves brushing against one another in a tree down the street. A dry, whispering sound, not urgent. Just movement responding to the night air. The couch beneath you remains warm. The room behind you steady and quiet. The clock in the hallway continues its patient ticking, though it feels farther away now. Sometimes, when you think too much at night, it feels as though the world expects you to catch up, to match its speed. But out there, the world has already slowed. It isn't waiting for you to solve anything. It has chosen rest. A porch light clicks off two houses down another small shift toward darkness. The street grows softer with each light that fades. Shadows. blend together. Edges lose their definition. What once felt separate now feels unified. One calm stretch of pavement under a wide sky. You might rest your head more fully against the cushion. The glass of the window holds the night in place. Safe, contained. A faint breeze moves through the trees again. Not strong enough to rattle branches. Just enough to remind them they're alive. Even the insects seem quieter now. Their steady rhythm has softened into something more distant. A background murmur rather than a chorus. There's peace in watching something end gently. The day didn't crash into night. It simply leaned into it, minute by minute, until this quiet remained. Across. The way that last upstairs window finally dims. The glow disappears. The room goes dark. Now it's mostly just the street lamp at the corner and our own porch light holding their small circles of brightness. And neither of them seems in a hurry. Your thoughts may still wander. Fewer lights, fewer movements, fewer reminders of the day. The town has done its part. It has folded itself neatly into sleep. In a little while, perhaps we'll turn away from the window and wander upstairs. Not to do anything in particular, just to pass by the attic door, where old boxes rest quietly in the dark, holding thoughts that don't need opening tonight. The attic waits without asking to be disturbed. And somewhere above us, the attic waits without asking to be disturbed. The stairs creak softly beneath slow steps. The air grows slightly cooler as you climb. Thinner, perhaps, or maybe just quieter. The attic door rests at the end of the hallway. It isn't grand, just wood and a simple handle that turns without much resistance. When you open it, there's a faint shift in the air, like a room clearing its throat politely. Up here, the light is dimmer. A single bulb hangs from a cord, glowing gently. It doesn't reach every corner. That's all right. Others are blank, holding their contents privately. A thin layer of dust softens their edges. Nothing feels abandoned, just the quiet passage of time. It's not unpleasant, just steady. The ones downstairs, less warm, a higher sound, almost curious. I've always thought of attics as places where thoughts go when they're not needed right away. Not forgotten, just set aside. Like letters, placed carefully in a drawer. You might sit on an old trunk near the center of the room. Its surface is cool through your clothes, solid, reliable. It doesn't wobble. It has held weight before. The house below remains calm. The clock ticks faintly from somewhere distant. The street outside continues its quiet rest. The sounds feel softer, thicker somehow, as if wrapped in insulation. A box near the corner tilts slightly, not falling, just resting at an angle. It has been that way for years, I suspect. There's comfort in things that don't move unless they truly need to. Sometimes when thoughts feel unfinished, waiting for a day that may never require their opening. And that's all right. Not everything must be sorted before sleep. A small draft moves through a crack near the roofline, just enough to stir a faint ripple in the dust. The light bulb sways ever so slightly, casting slow-moving shadows against the rafters. Shadows. Their gentle shapes softened by distance. The beams overhead form quiet patterns, crossing one another in simple lines. You might run your hand across the top of a nearby box. The dust leaves a faint trail behind your fingers, a small mark in an otherwise untouched surface. It doesn't change the box. It simply proves you were here for a moment. There's an old photograph frame leaning against the far wall. You can't see the picture clearly from here, and you don't need to. It's enough to know it exists. The attic doesn't demand attention. It doesn't press its memories forward. It waits, patient as ever. Your thoughts may wander among these boxes, opening lids in your imagination, revisiting small scenes. That's just noticing that the boxes are there. The air feels still, quiet in a way that feels protective rather than empty. I remember coming up here on quiet nights, sitting exactly like this, letting old memories drift through without clinging to them. They behaved better when left mostly closed. Below us, the house continues its steady breathing. The refrigerator hums faintly. The porch light may still be glowing. Everything remains as it was. Up here, time feels paused, not stopped, just less urgent. The boxes aren't going anywhere. The beams won't shift. The light bulb will keep its soft glow until someone turns. Just long enough to realize that unfinished thoughts can rest safely where they are. The trunk will cool beneath us once more. The faint trail in the dust will remain until morning light finds it. And in a little while, we'll wander back downstairs, where a warm lamp beside the bed waits to cast a softer, kinder light. The attic will keep its quiet secrets. The boxes will remain closed. And downstairs, a small lamp is already glowing gently in the dark. The bedroom welcomes us without ceremony. The kind of warmth that gathers after a long day and stays. It doesn't reach the corners of the room. It doesn't try to. Its job is smaller than that. Sheets wrinkle slightly. Familiar sounds. Familiar textures. There's comfort in a bed that already knows you. The lamp's shade softens the light so that everything looks a little gentler. The chair in the corner rests without detail. Even your own hands appear calmer in this kind of glow. The house remains steady around us. The clock continues its distant ticking. The street outside is mostly dark now. The attic above holds its quiet boxes without shifting. Nothing is asking anything from you here. You might notice how the light warms the wood of the knitstand. The surface shines faintly where it's been polished over the years. There's a small scratch near the edge. It has been there a long time. It doesn't matter. The pillow rests patiently at the head of the bed, slightly indented from habit. Waiting, but not impatient. Sometimes the mind lingers even when the body is ready to rest. Thoughts step lightly across the day's small moments. Things said, things left unsaid, lists unfinished, questions that don't truly need answers tonight. The lamp doesn't mind those thoughts. It remains steady. You might reach out and touch the switch without turning it off, just feeling its shape, knowing that whenever you decide, the room can grow darker, but not yet. The window in this room shows only faint shadows now. The breeze has softened. The curtain barely moves. The world outside has chosen its rest. I remember nights when I sat exactly like this, watching the lamps glow against the wall. The mattress supports you if you lean back. The sheets cool against your skin, then warm gradually. The lamp hums almost imperceptibly. A tiny sound, like a whisper you can't quite hear unless you try. There's no rush to lie down fully. The body understands the direction we're heading. You might notice how the light casts a soft shadow behind. The lamp's base, it stretches slightly longer than you expect. Shadows at night feel friendlier when they're this warm. The house has done all its settling. The refrigerator has quieted into its steady rhythm. Count, though it feels far away now. Even your thoughts seem slower here. Less eager. Less insistent. If one thought lingers, let it rest beside the lamp. It will look softer in this light. The pillow waits. The blanket lies folded gently at the foot of the bed. It will rise and fall with your breathing soon enough. But quietly, the lamp's glow remains steady. You might lie back now, letting your head sink into the pillow. The mattress answers with a faint shift. Nothing more. The ceiling above holds the light in a warm oval. Beyond it, darkness stretches without pressure, and in a little while, when even the lamp begins to feel unnecessary, we may reach out and let the room grow darker still, and soon even the thoughts themselves may begin to grow tired. And soon even the thoughts themselves may begin to grow tired. You're lying back now, the pillow holding your head without effort. The blanket rests lightly over you, not heavy, just enough to feel present. The lamp beside the bed still glows, though its light seems softer than before. Nothing in the room has changed, and yet something feels quieter. The house has finished all its small adjustments. No more settling beams. No more shifting pipes. The refrigerator hums far away, steady and unbothered. The hallway clock continues its patient ticking, though it feels distant now, like a sound drifting across water. Your breathing has found a rhythm of its own, in, out, slow enough that you don't need to think about it. Thoughts may still pass through your mind, but they no longer hurry. They arrive gently, pause for a moment, and then drift onward. No need to hold them in place. No need to follow them down every path. Even busy minds grow tired eventually. It doesn't happen all at once. There's no clear moment when the last thought switches off. Instead, they grow softer around the edges. Less sharp. Less demanding. You might notice that the space between thoughts is wider now, like the pauses between the crickets on the porch earlier. Small pockets of quiet, resting places. The lamp casts its warm oval onto the wall. The shadow behind it barely moves. Everything feels settled into its final position for the night. I've always believed that sleep doesn't arrive because we force it. It comes because the body remembers how. The same way the town remembered to turn off its lights. The same way the attic held its boxes without needing to open them. Your shoulders sink a little deeper into the mattress. The pillow adjusts beneath your head. The blanket rises and falls with each breath. In, out. If a thought tries to stand up again, let it stretch. Let it yawn. No footsteps. Just a wide, steady stillness. The lamp may begin to feel brighter than necessary now. Not harsh. Just more than you need. You might reach out slowly and rest your fingers on the switch again. No rush, just feeling its shape, knowing that darkness is close. The mind softens when the light dims. Even before you turn it off, your eyes may close for a moment, just to rest them. The room remains the same behind your eyelids, only darker, warmer. There's no need to measure the time. The clock can keep its quiet count without your attention. Somewhere in the distance, a single leaf brushes against another. A small sound. The pillow holds steady. The blanket warms where it rests against you. The thoughts that once circled the porch light have grown slower. The ones that hummed in the kitchen have quieted. Even the unfinished boxes in the attic seem content to remain closed. Everything is where it should be. If you choose, you can turn off the lamp now. or you can let it glow a moment longer. It makes no difference to the night. The darkness is already patient. When the switch finally clicks, the room won't disappear. It will simply shift into a deeper shade. And in that deeper shade, thoughts tend to fade further still. There's no dramatic ending here. No final statement. Just the steady rhythm of breathing, the faint memory of a ticking clock. Night is holding everything gently now, and somewhere between one slow breath and the next, the lamp will dim into darkness. The house will remain steady and kind, and before you notice the moment it happens, you'll already be drifting.